today. I'm so excited. Like, I've been looking forward to this all day. So what I want to first talk about, what I first want to go through is pretty much we want to see how you guys have gone from when we chat on Saturday to today. And I also want to get a bit of feedback on how you guys are going with your playbooks. So just to see whether or not you are actually, you've had the time to maybe sit down and go through the questionnaires. So something that I really try and do each day is journal. And for me, I do it at the end of each day. And it just helps me kind of do a bit of a mind dump. And especially if there's something that I am focusing on at the moment, it helps me kind of just release any sort of, you know, like if you don't feel like you did that well that day, release any fears around, you know, whether or not you're going to pick it up. So use this playbook as your journal prompts. That's probably the easiest way I can explain to help you guys implement it into your day and get the most out of the program. So I really loved, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but I loved what Amy shared. She's actually got her own little journal book and using day by day as her journal prompts. So whether you guys are doing it that way or literally just jotting it down in the playbook, maybe you've got like a PDF or something you're working from on your computer, whatever works for you. But as I've always said with this program is we're going to be implementing it in 2-week blocks, so small little bite size. So hopefully we can pick up all the info throughout the 2 weeks before we move on. So I'm going to just do a little bit of sort of question asking for now. We're going to just go around the group and I would like you guys to, in a moment, just unmute yourselves and then share one key takeaway from this week. So one key takeaway from the playbook, from your daily lessons, and one thing you've done well, and one thing you feel might be a roadblock for you. So I'm going to get you guys to unmute one at a time. I'll unmute you guys. So one key takeaway from the week, so something from the playbooks, one thing you feel like you've done well, and also one roadblock that we're going to come back to and make sure everybody can be on the same page. So I might start at the top of the group here. Nat, that would be you.
Yep.
So just fire away.
Okay, so my key takeaway probably is the type of protein that I'm eating. So I've been quite good in the past few weeks of hitting my protein target, but just now being more mindful of what kind of protein I'm eating. Probably what I've done well this week then is I've cooked with turkey for the first time this week. Yeah, and I find that is, I mean, it's quite similar to chicken, but yeah, just very lean. Like you can tell when you're eating it that, yeah, it's just much better for you. And then roadblock for me, now that I'm back at work, is my afternoon snack is probably for me trying to work out something that I can easily have at work, but that still fits in to my macros. And, you know, like I didn't take anything today and I was very hungry and just ended up staying at work a bit later than what I thought. So, yeah, that's just probably my one for this week.
Awesome. I've definitely got some ideas around that. So I'm just going to, while you guys are talking, going to be jotting down, not trying to be rude, but I'm going to be jotting down what your roadblocks are. And then we're going to come back at the end and I'm going to solve some solutions. Alrighty. So thanks for sharing that. Good first week. And how good is it? Experimenting with a bit of turkey.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Saves a bit of fat in the diary as well for the good stuff.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Love it. Good work. Thank you. Tamara, you are next, lovely. Yeah. Sorry, I'll just, yep.
No. Well, yeah, my takeaway from this week would be that I need to plan more. I need to, really plan and to gain knowledge on what I can and can't eat, basically, and what amounts of percentages foods has in it. The only thing I've done well is I've entered everything I've eaten into my Fitness Pal. That's it. And just my roadblock at the moment is just not having the knowledge to fuel my body, don't have the knowledge to know what's, what protein to eat and what fats and what's good and what's bad. So small steps, but we're on day 4 now and I'm still alive. So we're doing well. So, and I'm not hungry. So that's the thing. I haven't been hungry, which I thought that I would be, but just eating alternate foods to think,
Yes, I love it. 2 of the most satiating things is protein and fiber. So as soon as we increase protein and fiber in our diet, we're not going to be feeling as hungry, which is going to help us when we're in that calorie deficit. So good start.
Oh, well, it's not, well, I'm not actually reaching my goals as yet, but having obviously increased that amount even slightly, I've noticed the difference within 4 days. And I may have a headache from not eating sugar for the last 4 days. But anyway.
But again, we're still alive.
I'm still alive. It's all good.
Doing well. All right, awesome. Well, I'll come back to the knowledge. I think you'll get a lot out of today. I think you will. Fantastic. All right, Janelle, you are next on my screen, Chicky. I'm going to unmute you or ask to unmute.
All right. So what I did well is I actually tracked a whole day.
Yay!
What I was doing on my fitness pal, kind of, I think.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I learned to put a recipe in. My biggest learning is the same as Tamara, the planning. Like, it's true. Like, if you haven't planned, if you're not organised,
Well, sorry, I think there might be a little bit of a connection issue there, Janelle. We've lost you a little bit. Oh. Sorry, Janelle, do you mind just typing in the chat box what your roadblock is and we can bring it back to that when the connection works?
what are you doing?
Sorry, do you mind just typing in the chat box what your roadblock is, and then hopefully we can better that connection. Sorry, we'll come back to you. All right. And Emily, you are next on my screen, so I'm going to ask you those 3 questions.
Did you say Ree or Emily?
I said Emily, sorry.
Mine's a bit, we went away last Thursday evening and only got back late last night, so I haven't really absorbed too much, but I started reading the playbooks yesterday, like I messaged you saying, and I think for me the biggest challenge is going to be getting my head around the idea of macros and thinking about things that I haven't really thought about before. Normally it's just a bit of what do I like for dinner that's got a bit of meat and veg in and going from there. So it's just a lot more thought and planning, like the girls were saying. But I have successfully since Monday been drinking a lot more water, which is something I don't do. And yeah.
Good. Yeah, because that's something that we spoke about, isn't it? That we wanted to improve. Awesome. And it's just making those conscious, mindful thoughts. Yeah. Fantastic. So what do you feel like might be a roadblock that we could address?
It's probably just my lack of knowledge about the different foods and what kind of macros they have, and I think that's probably where I'm going to have to do a bit more research to get really familiar. I didn't realize that grapes were a carb, so it's little things like that which are going to make a difference in planning and thinking.
Absolutely. Once we go through a few more sort of reflections, I'm actually going to take you guys through a bit of a presentation on proteins. It's going to explain a lot more. So hopefully you guys will leave this sort of chat with some more knowledge on that area as well. But thank you for sharing, and I'm glad you're back and you're caught up on the playbook. Awesome. Taking action. I love it.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Ree, now would you like to go?
Sure. So my takeaway is not realizing how much protein I wasn't eating, and I'm finding it hard to get my protein targets. So what I've done well is just learning how to input everything into my Fitness Pal, and then just learning that, this does have lots of fiber or lots of vitamin A and that sort of information that I didn't know before.
Yeah.
And then my roadblock would be the planning. I'm a bit sort of just free spirited and eat sort of just whatever I feel like, but that's not really working. And then just sort of trying to get the family or my partner to eat a bit healthier as well at dinner time with no complaints.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I've got some suggestions, so we'll definitely come back to that. But good job. It's just about realizing, and then we can make those changes. So thanks for sharing. Marley, I might go to you just because I know that you are next, or you need to go to training. Oh, sorry. There we go. I can. Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, I had to shoo my friends away.
That's okay.
Something I would take away from the week would be probably the same as most others, is to just plan more. Because incorporating my roadblocks into that, I went out for lunch twice this week, and then we had the public holiday on Tuesday, so I sort of got a bit carried away, which didn't help me obviously hit my goals. But also another one would be just a lack of knowledge on what protein, of how much protein's in what, and that there's actually a lot more fats in good foods that I initially assumed. Like, I was having Greek yogurt and almonds thinking that, oh yeah, no, they're good fats. But when you actually look at them, you're like, oh, that's actually probably a little bit too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that'd be my roadblock and takeaway in one. But what I do well is the same. The amount of water that I've been drinking each day is on target, which is good. And then, same, using my Fitness Pal a lot for everything. So, yeah.
Good job. A good job. It's just, it is creating a different kind of habit, isn't it?
Yeah, and very, very different kind of habit.
Yeah. Nah, doing well. We've started, okay? We're all good. You're in good hands. Thank you, Marley. Caitlin, I'm going to jump to you. Did you want to share your 3?
Yeah, so as I said before, like, I've literally just gotten back into the swing of things again after being away. So I feel like I'm already behind the 8 ball before I've even started. But I guess, like, the biggest things that I'm taking away and reflecting on is how important it is to actually plan and, like, plan out what you want to buy at the shops, plan out what you actually want to eat. And so that's really highlighted how important that is, because part of me just thought I could just wing the first few days and nothing's happened. So I'm like, that's just not worked out for me. Yeah. So yeah, and organization. And I think I just feel in my life right now, I'm so unorganized. I've got stuff just everywhere. Like, every aspect of my life is just chaos at the moment. And that's definitely the biggest roadblock, because I'm stressed. I feel like I'm time poor, and I'm just feeling overwhelmed. And like, the most frustrating thing is when you feel overwhelmed, the first thing that goes is your health and your routine. Like, so I feel frustrated by that, but I guess it's important that I've reflected on it, and yeah, I can sit down tonight and give myself that time to reflect on, okay, let's just stop. Let's just pause for a moment and see, let's move forward. So it's, yeah.
I love it. Good. Yeah, and I suppose Poppy will do that. That's going to throw a bit of turmoil into your routine.
And it's pulling on so many emotions I didn't even know I had. Because I've been, anyway, we'll get there. The both of us will get there.
You will. And like you said, it's good that you've actually reflected on that, and now you're like, no, I'm going to commit to the time on Thursday night. We're going to lock it in, and we're going to get ahead of the game. I love it. Thank you for sharing. All right, guys, so we've got some common roadblocks by the sounds of things. One of them being planning, and one of the other more common, sorry, I'm just really uncomfortable. One of the other more common was about knowledge. So we're going to dive into the knowledge one first, and we'll sort of circle back. So with the daily lessons, obviously there's little bite-sized pieces in each day. So if you just try and take in a little bit each day, sometimes there's a little activity, sometimes it's a little bit of knowledge. There's really not much that you have to allocate per day. Like I said, it might be at the end of the day, it might be 10 minutes in bed. It might be while you're eating your breakfast, or, you know, just like Caitlin said, allowing the time to commit to something. And if we're doing it daily, then it's going to be forefront of our mind. So if you do it first thing in the morning, it's going to be forefront of our mind for the day. If you reflect in the evening, you can start fresh the next day. So what I'm going to do is just jump into a share screen. I won't share it just yet, just in case our internet drops, because it's been shocking this year. But the major reason that we want to make sure we are having enough protein is because we want to actually maintain the lean muscle mass. So if we're maintaining lean muscle mass, that means that our body is actually burning more calories by holding on to muscle. So, you know, when people say, I don't want to get bulky, or I don't want to build muscle, I just want to lose fat. Well, they actually go hand in hand. We actually want to build muscle to burn fat. And if you have joined the program for that, or would like to see that as a byproduct, then this is something that we really want to be conscious of. Protein is not going to make you bulky. It's not going to make you fat. And the chances of you over consuming protein is very low. And you will know that if you ever are, because if you're not hydrating enough, your pee will be yellow and you'll be constipated. Okay, so 2 signs to look out for, but the chances of that are not going to happen because your protein has been set within a reasonable percentage for you guys. Now, during this program as well, if we've spoken about your goals and one of them was to maybe shift a little bit of weight or sort of start to tone or tighten up, you are probably going to be in a calorie deficit. So when we talk about a calorie deficit, that means that the amount of calories you are allocated over your day is going to be slightly less to the amount that your body is burning on average per day. So just like how I got you guys to do your consultation at the start and you've completed how many sessions or how active you are, that's how I've actually determined your calories. Now we break it down into your carbs, fats, and macros. And this is the important part, because this is where we can start to manipulate body composition. So for example, if somebody was not active and they weren't looking to actually lose weight or to build muscle, they were just kind of looking to maintain, then their amount of protein is going to be a lot less to what you guys are being allocated at the moment. But you guys are ready to create a healthy lifestyle, a balanced lifestyle, which includes activity, and we want to build a strong, lean physique, right? So that's the idea of why the protein targets may seem so high as opposed to what you guys might be used to, but it's also why we want to try and aim to hit our protein targets. So protein is actually, it provides building blocks to help retain the muscle. It also helps regulate body processes and hormone balance. It helps to also regulate our hydration levels. There are so many processes that protein equates or adds to that I want you guys to sort of, this is why we started on protein, rebooting metabolism. We want to really prioritize that as a macronutrient. So I also, not to sort of pick on Amy, but to reflect on one of her, she's already done today's reflection, how she's going to approach the weekend. She's actually already planned out how she's going to have a high protein morning and a low carbs and fat morning. Now, as you know, Amy's been doing that for, been doing nutrition coaching for a little bit. And that's been one of the things, one of the tools that I've taught in time. On a weekend, it's so easy to hit your carbs and your fats because, like Marley said, we're maybe out for lunch or we might be out for morning tea or something. And generally, protein will be the hardest one to hit. So the way that Amy has chosen to combat that this weekend, to still enjoy her weekend, she's just going to make sure she's going to have a high protein breakfast, high protein, low fat, low carbs, and she's going to allow her day to be a normal weekend. And this is what I really want to encourage is you guys don't have to cut carbs. You guys don't have to cut fat. It's not about cutting calories. It's about meeting your body's nutrient needs. And that is why we all do separate individual nutrient needs. So another reason that, you know, protein, or the role of protein, it also helps with energy production. So as you guys might have noticed, now you're starting to use MyFitnessPal a little bit more. Protein is 4 calories per gram. So per 1 gram of protein, it equates to 4 calories. So then when you look at fats, for example, it's 9 calories per gram, and carbohydrates is 4 calories per gram. So as you can see, your split, your macro split, it's going to be quite little in the fats section, which is why it can seem a little bit hard to keep under. But exactly the same as what Marley said, when we're eating things, like we've been marketed, you know, avocados are great for you, almonds are great for you, full fat yogurts, go full fat because you don't want to go low fat because that's worse for you. We've been marketing, we've been conditioned to believe these things about certain foods that without tracking, we actually don't have the knowledge to know how much they are or what their macro content is. So super important why I encourage us to start tracking. Like I've always said, this is not something that you have to do for the rest of your life to ever see results again. This is something that we have to do to gain the knowledge and have an understanding. So I'm going to actually open up a screen share now, which is going to show you guys a bit of a breakdown on some protein information. Now I'm just going to share the screen. Let me know if this doesn't work. If you could just give me a thumbs up. Can you see my screen? Yes, you can. Amazing. Okay, so protein quality in the common foods that we eat. So as you can see, we're looking at 100 grams of turkey here. That's 23 grams of protein in 100 grams of turkey. So if you've got, you know, say 30 something grams of turkey of protein left in your diary and you haven't yet planned out dinner, go for turkey. And same deal, if you have got a lot of protein and a lot of fats left, you sort of getting close to your carbs, that's when you probably look at, you know, a T-bone steak, or look at the steak or the red meat, which is higher in fats and in protein. One thing to be mindful of as well is when we go out, generally we think salmon is a great option because it's, you know, protein and it's usually sided with a salad. Yeah, very true. But if we are on a sort of fat-restricted meal plan, for example, any between that 45 to 60 grams of fat, and you have 100 grams of salmon, it's going to help you get your protein up, but it's really going to add to your fats as well. So this is why it's so important to be prepared in the fact that I always say, enter your diary prior before actually having. So then you can have confidence that the day you're eating actually over, and you're not going to get to their time and go, oh shit, I've got a really random set of numbers left here. What am I going to have for dinner? And if you do get to that stage, then maybe, like guys, if we want to hit some goals, we want to really start to see some changes or feel some changes, you're going to have to sacrifice the carbonara with the family. If you have not planned your day out to meet the carbonara with the family, you're going to have to sacrifice that. It's just something that we're going to have to do. It's like you want to buy your dream car, you're going to have to sacrifice where you're spending your money, right? So we just want to look at our macro split and our calories just the same. So if you're going to overspend throughout the day, you're going to have to sacrifice in the evening. So if you like, take a screenshot or take a picture of this slide, and it's just going to give you a few ideas maybe about what is actually in 100 weight of those. But be mindful as well, just because it's high in protein, Sorry, guys, I think we dropped a little there, but just jumping back in, we're still recording, it's all good. All right, I'll just let everybody jump back on. So could you hear me? Can you hear me, Ree?
I can hear you, Ash, but you're not moving.
Okay, that's okay, as long as you can still hear me. Thanks, Janelle. Sorry, guys. I think it was the screen share. It seems to take more internet than just Zooming. But I might, it's still recording, so I might keep going and then we can, I'll upload that later. But hopefully you guys were able to get a screenshot. If not, I can send that slide out to you. And if you feel like that would help, then let me know and I can get it to you as well. So with that also, there is, if anybody has heard of amino or branch chain amino acids or amino acids. Yeah, you have some, yeah. So amino acids are pretty much the building blocks of protein. And then there are 3 main amino acids, which are what we call whole amino acids, and they have the 9 essential aminos in them. So the difference between an essential amino acid and a non-essential is essential are the aminos that our body cannot produce itself. So they can come from plant foods, and generally you'll get your whole range amino acids from meat and dairy. So this is why we talk about a balanced diet, and this is why we want to encourage trying a bit of everything. So complete proteins are things like eggs, milk, beef, poultry, and from a plant-based perspective, soybeans and quinoa. I've now learned how to say that. Incomplete proteins, so these are the ones that contain protein, but you're also going to have to top up with something else to get your 9 essential aminos. Incomplete proteins are your cereals, legumes, and grains. And generally, cereals, legumes, and grains are also high in carbohydrates. So if anybody is following a more plant-based diet or looking to go down that way, then your carbohydrates are going to be used up quite significantly by your protein source as well. So just another thing to be mindful of, nothing to be scared of, as everybody's got their own choice. The main functions of body proteins is growth, maintenance, regulatory role, like I sort of briefly touched on before, and energy production. So these are the 3 main roles why we want to keep our protein intake at a steady level. So if we're under, that means that our ability to rebuild or maintain muscle is going to decrease. Our ability, or our body's ability to regulate things, body processes, is going to be affected, and our energy production is going to be affected. So we want to maintain that healthy level of protein. So for all of you guys, that's what has been set. Now, before I move on, has everyone who is on now been able to see what their goal is in 360 coaching app and actually change their macro goals in MyFitnessPal? Just type yes in the chats if you have got that under control, and type no if you have not yet been able to update your specific goal in MyFitnessPal. And one thing I also just want to confirm with that is you do need to have it changed from kilojoules to calories. So when you first sign up, it's set to American. You'll have to go into your menu bar and then change from the settings, units, and change that from kilojoules to calories. So if you are still looking at a big, large number remaining at the end of your day, you're probably looking at kilojoules. So just make sure that is changed and updated. All right, so it looks like everybody's been able to make those changes. I can't quite see the chat box, but that's all good. All right, so I'm going to move on now and talk a little bit more about our protein timing. So this is something as well that I'm going to briefly touch on so we don't bombard you, because I really want you guys to get the basics this week. But the importance of our protein timing comes down to our body's ability to go into what's called an anabolic state, which means that we are more likely to preserve lean muscle mass during the weight loss phase. So, and like we've touched on, we want to preserve the lean muscle so that we can build tone muscle and lose body fat, because we all know that muscle helps burn more calories than what fat mass does. So, and obviously we know that when we compare somebody at the same weight who might be muscular compared to somebody at the same weight who might be carrying a higher percentage of fat mass, this person is going to look smaller, but they're the same weight, right? So what we want to get to is a nice happy medium within ourselves that you feel confident. And to do that, we want to create that anabolic state. So we want our body to be burning more calories. So to do that, now I answered this question last week. Who can unmute themselves and let me know how you're actually going to create that thermic effect and get your body in the anabolic state?
I think you have to eat protein regularly throughout the day, about like 25 to 35, somewhere in there, grams per serve.
Yes, amazing. That's an excellent goal to hit. So about 20 to 35 grams. 20 to 35 grams, let's say 2 to 3 hours, maybe 3 hours every 3 hours. This is going to, like Tamara noticed, it's going to help you feel full throughout the day. And it's going to help your body stay in an anabolic state. All right, awesome. And that's about the timing. Now, we've gone over the percentages and the importance of protein. So now what I want you guys to do is in the chat box, just type one takeaway that you got from that little mini presentation. We'll go into another one next week. So one key takeaway from tonight's presentation, and then we're going to touch on some roadblocks. Just in the chat box, or I don't even know if the chat box is working, so feel free to unmute yourself and yeah, maybe just voice it if that's easier. Feel free to unmute yourself and voice it. Marley, did you have a takeaway before you got to run off to training?
Ash, I missed most of it. So is this taped?
Yes, absolutely.
Not taped. God, I'm old. Whatever it is.
It is recorded. Yeah.
That's it.
Every week. So I'll
Beautiful.
record them every week and I'll upload them into the group. So you can always watch that on replay.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Tamara's taking notes, so I'll just nick them off of her. She's my teammate.
Yes, yes. Actually, before I do forget, I've opened up a buddy group. So if you ever, just want to chat with your buddy group, I've created them in the 360 app now as well. And what I would like you guys to do between now and the weekend, or tonight would be amazing, just vote within your group who you would like to be the leader. So if you could just type a little vote within that group. And then once we can allocate a leader, I'm going to leave the groups and it's going to be just you guys in that group chatting and supporting each other. Sorry, I can't see the chat box, so I didn't see any of those come in if we saw them. Was there any that came through?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I
So
might
just,
need to unmute or read them through.
just a quick summary.
Yeah, perfect. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. just picking the right type of protein and knowing what fats are in them and not. And that's about the gist of it, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay, here they've all come. Fat, protein mix. The good protein foods have fat, so be careful what to choose. Yep, perfect. Picking protein, but still keeping an eye on fats. Love it. Good. Choose the right protein. Hit McGolsey shake. Got to go. All things. Okay. Thanks, Marley. See ya. Love it. All right. That's good. Well, we got something out of that, right? And that's the main thing. So again, it's really about education. And once you guys, knowledge is power, and you'll just be bosses. All right. Bosses of the household, and you'll know exactly what you're doing in the supermarket. Trust me, the confidence will come. You will definitely get that. All right. Now, I just want to go over some roadblocks before we take off. Now, they're a bit all over the place, but Ree, one of yours was hard to hit your protein target, and planning and getting everyone in the household on the healthy meals. Okay, so protein target. Again, this is going to come a little bit back to preparation, and looking at things like where in your meals are you currently having protein that you may be able to increase. So, for example, you might be having a salad and sweet potato with chicken for lunch, but can we increase the amount of chicken, or can we have the chicken and add some boiled egg whites as well, or can we have the chicken and add some mixed 4B mix or some black beans, or where else can we get this protein from without increasing the chicken? So that is one way that we could do it. Another way is actually in your dressings. So when I have a salad and I know that I want to try and increase my protein, I'll use cottage cheese and sweet chili as my dressing, as opposed to mayonnaise or as opposed to balsamic dressing, because cottage cheese is actually quite high in protein. Yes, it carries some carbohydrates as well, but if you get the light cottage cheese, it's also low in fat. So it's not going to increase your fat, but it's also going to help you hit your protein with the protein you've got within your salad. So does that help? Yeah, awesome. So the planning is just going to come back down to, I think I shared something on Instagram this week. I'm going to allow time for my health. So this is directed to every aspect of health. So if we want to see zeros in our diary, or if we want to feel like we're progressing within understanding nutrition, then we've got to just allow a bit of time, allow a bit of space. And whether that is listening back to this recording on a walk, or listening to an informative podcast or something like that on this topic, just really, like, it's 8 weeks of our entire year. It's 8 weeks. And I was reflecting back on some posts that I made way back then. And one of them was about how when I started to see progress, and it was when I became laser focused on what I wanted. And what I wanted so badly was to stop the negative feeling of how I was about myself and my body. And because I wanted it so badly, I created the time and I became laser focused. And this is what you guys are doing right now. You have created the time. You've jumped on a Thursday night and you're becoming laser focused by taking notes and by now implementing once we jump off this call. Okay. And then to get the family on board, or, to get people who are not so open to healthy eating, they think you're just going to be eating lettuce, is actually start to show them the amount of food you're eating. Start to show them some of the flexible things that you're having. And they're like, oh, you can't eat that on a diet. You're on a diet, you can't eat that. Get creative and start to actually show them, well, yes, I can have pasta, because I've swapped my pasta that I usually have to a protein pasta or to a pea protein pasta, which is actually going to help you guys hit your protein, keep the carbs under a little bit compared to normal pasta, but you still get to have this delicious meal, right? So start to show them how this is not a diet, it's a way of life, and it's going to fit into a very rewarding lifestyle. All right, we're going to jump over to Marley. I know she's jumped off the call, but one of them was out for meals and knowledge. So hopefully we're going to cover this knowledge over the next 8 weeks. So it's going to come. But when you're out for meals, the best thing, and I actually had somebody message me last night, my suggestion was, if you know on a Wednesday night you've got training and you're going to be home late, so on a Wednesday night that's generally a night that you and the family might get takeaway, then what I want you to do on the Tuesday or the Wednesday morning before you start your meals is put in what you're going to get for takeaway. You want to put that in first and foremost. And then we can work our day backwards as to what we have left in our allocation of macros. So for example, if you went to Zambreros, for example, and got like the Power Bowl, then we look on their website, because everything's accessible now, we can do this, and it will tell you what's in that Power Bowl. You know what, you might even actually be able to go to MyFitnessPal and type in Sombrero Power Bowl, and it may even already be in there, and just plug it in. Easy, simple, work your day backwards. If you are catching up with a friend, you don't know where you're going yet, then just a sort of suggestion is to make sure you leave carbs and fats, because they're the two easiest to hit. So if we can leave a higher amount of carbs and fats for those meals out, then you're going to leave yourself a bit of wiggle room to enjoy the meal, rather than feel like, oh, I can't be here, I can't eat, I can't enjoy life because I'm on a diet. It's not a diet. Okay, another one was organization and just feeling a bit frustrated. I think that's just going to come down to taking a little bit of a breath, and everybody's year started differently. So acknowledge that, you know, where you might be may be very different to somebody else, but somebody else may have had a routine already set. They may have already been back at work for 3 weeks, so they may be ready to fully sit down and commit. So just take a little breath, it's okay, and schedule in time to do your workbook or your playbook every day. 10 minutes, 15 at the max, if you want to take some time to reflect on what you've actually learned or implemented. And then we had having lots of birthdays this month, knowledge around planning the day in advance with joy socializing others. So I hope, did those suggestions help with that, Janelle? With the birthdays and the events coming up? Still a little bit frozen, that's okay. So I think it's more just about, yeah, really focusing on, if you know that you've got an event that night, then let's pre-plan our day to make sure we're hitting our protein throughout the day. And then we've allowed a little bit of wiggle room for the nighttime. And also go into the event with intentions. Intentions on, am I going to drink? And if you're not, own that decision. You're not going to have alcohol, so we don't need to fuss about fitting that into the diary. You can confidently wake up the next day knowing that you stuck to your guns and you met your goals. And also, like, just go into the event knowing you're eating well. You're not on a diet. We don't need to go around and say, I'm on an 8-week challenge, I'm on a diet, so I can't have that, I can't have this, because there's nothing we can't have, remember. We just want to be able to portion it in our allocations. The afternoon snack, looking for something easy. Okay, if you're looking for something easy for the afternoon, it's probably going to be packaged or a piece of fruit. So maybe an afternoon snack could be, you know, even rice cakes. You could take a little, you could get those little hummus dips or tzatziki dips, or a slice of cheese, depending on what you've got left in your diary, a protein bar, even just a protein shake on water, something just to tie you over until dinner. Piece of fruit is a really easy one. Fruit and yogurt, so you're also getting that protein injection as well. Boiled eggs, even just preparing some vegetable sticks, and then you can dip them in, say, cottage cheese or tzatziki or something. Another really good one as well for those sort of afternoon snacks is leftovers. You know, sometimes we cook and we do a bit of meal prep, but sometimes there's actually a bit of chicken and a bit of veg left over. Why can't we just put that in a smaller container and have that as a snack? You know, thinking outside the box a little bit, and it's still prepped. Like, it's still not going to have us asking questions, what am I going to have for snack? Because it's still prepped, ready to go. So there's a few ideas. So maybe toy around with them a little bit this week. And one of them was just lack of knowledge, and that's okay. Lack of knowledge, it's okay, because we're here and we're learning together. And we're opening up this space for questions. So we'll get through that as well. And again, that'll come back to your implementing. So your commitment over this next 8 weeks. Think about 8 weeks out of 52. 8 weeks out of 52. That's a math teacher. She's probably already worked out the percentage for me, but it's not much, right? Compared to the 10, 15 years of freedom you guys are creating by committing to 8 weeks. And maybe we go through this round twice to really help it sink in. You know, the next program, the elevated program, maybe we need the 16 weeks, but still 16 weeks out of 52, it's nothing. It's nothing. We've got this. And another one was just about knowledge. So again, it's just going to come back to that, that sort of commitment and application from you guys. I am going to be doing another sort of mini presentation, just like I've done tonight. Again, I just want to do these in little increments. So next week, again, we'll be on protein. So please make sure we're working through our playbooks. I might even do a little quick check-in between now and next Thursday, just to see how everyone's going. Before I unmute and just get some feedback, I would just like to remind you guys, within your little buddy group, could you comment a name? Maybe do that now if you're on your phone or close to your phone. Just head to the group message, and then within your group, I would like you to comment a name, somebody who is in your group that you would like to lead you, or if you feel like within your group you would like to help and be the leader, then feel free to just put a little hand emoji and we can allocate you a leader within that group. And it's just to, yep, no worries tomorrow, thank you. We are wrapping up anyway. So I hope tonight has helped. Just pop in your group, guys, and then I can go back through and reflect all of them. Feel free to unmute yourself. And before we do hang up the call, does anybody have any other questions or any sort of aha moments that they would like to share?
I've got a question. It may have already been said, but I've just missed it. What exactly is the playbook?
So in your 360 coaching app, you would have received on Monday, you would have received a PDF, an invitation to a PDF Google Doc.
Yeah.
And that's a playbook. So every 14 days, we're going to be adopting a different habit. And
okay, so the one with the protein, is that right?
Yes.
Protein, power. Okay, that's okay, sure. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right page. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're all over it.
Okay, cool. Easy.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Does anybody have anything else they would like to share or? No. Perfect. Well, that was tonight. So that's pretty much how our calls are going to run. It's going to just be a little bit of education and then opening up for you guys to share your roadblocks so we can work on them and offer solutions. Offer solutions is all we want. So I think what we all want to work on between now and next chat, planning and just being a little bit more prepared. And asking questions within that group if they come up, because we don't want to feel overwhelmed or frustrated. So it's easy just to air it, get it off our chest and work our way through. Awesome. Sound good, guys?
Great. Thanks, Ash.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Thanks.
Bye.